to sit down and talk about the future truth. I'm going to find a big lie and say it over and over and over again. By the way, I want you to tweet me your big lie on Twitter at Patrick David. Tweet me your big lie. And my favorite lie, I'm going to retweet a few of them. You tweet me your biggest lie at Patrick David. What is your big lie? What is your future truth? You start working on your perspective, making it big small. You start questioning everything, challenging your thinking. You face the truth. You make a game plan to outwork, out-improve, outlast, out-strategize. You start making $1 million income. And you become one of those 500,000 people in America that make $1 million income. You live in another different country and you make $1 million income because principles are evergreen in all the countries outside of communism and socialism. What if you apply those concepts and you started improving? What if you did that? What would happen to you? What happens if you make $1 million income? Are you better for your family? Are you better for your community? Are you better for your parents, your friends, your kids? Are you better for society? Are you better for your friends? Are you better for everybody? More importantly, are you better for you? Do you have better doctors for you? Do you live in a better community? You give more money to charity. You give more money to communities. Do you feel better about yourself? You wake up in the morning and once you figure out this entire formula, do you really think you can go back to being a regular person like you used to be? Do you really think you can go back and take up some of your bad habits if you make this thing a consistent thing? Now, it's easy to go back and being bad, but don't you think you're going to start living a whole different life? Is it not worth it to make a decision to do this? You see, the reality is of everybody watching this, maybe 1% of you is actually going to apply the things we talk. Maybe 1% of everybody watching is going to apply the stuff that we're talking about. Most people are just going to go, boom, boom, they skip. You went back to work or you went back to a whole different thing, and you'll say, I'm going to get back to this later on today, put a reminder, and you forget about it like everybody else does. A few of you are going to watch this and you're going to say, stop everything. I'm taking a break. Hey, I need a break, 20-minute break, 30-minute break. Go grab it. If your emotions are, start writing. Start asking. Write this whole formula. We're going to have a PDF below for you to get it. Start writing all this stuff. If that's you, I got 2 other videos for you to watch. One, 11 Skills of a Millionaire. 11 Skills Millionaires Master. You got to watch this one. And another one is how to really become a millionaire. Not how to make $1 million income, how to really become a millionaire. You need to watch How to Really Become a Millionaire, and you need to watch 11 Skills Every Millionaire Masters. You do those things and go through the PDF and start applying these concepts 2, 3, 6, 12 months from now. Not only are you not going to recognize yourself, none of your friends and family is going to start recognizing yourself. And all of a sudden, you're going to send me a message on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, saying, Pat, I just crossed $1 million income. I'll ask you, how's it feel? How's it feel? Was it as hard as you thought it was going to be? It was hard, but not as hard as I thought it was going to be. And I make $1 million income. And by the way, I can't wait for you to do it. You, I'm talking to you, the serious one. You, I can't wait for you. I can't wait for your dreams to become a reality. I can't wait for it. I cannot wait for you to experience this and tell me about it a year, 2 years, 3 years, 5 years from now. Anyway, if you want the PDF, click on the link below. Questions, thoughts, comment below. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, click on the subscribe button right here to my left. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye. One of the many things I firmly believe in, that anybody who learns the skill sets of a millionaire can become a millionaire. When I say anybody, I literally mean generally anybody, minus any health, disabilities, things like that. You see, I'm wearing this shirt here that says enjoy capitalism, because capitalism may not be a 100% perfect system. I've lived in a socialistic environment, lived, not vacation, lived. And I've lived in a dictatorship environment. I've lived with a family members who were, half my family were all communists and imperialists. I believe in capitalism, and many of my followers who follow these, the content on valuetainment from all around the world, 220 countries that follow this content, you will know I will constantly encourage people to study this system, this model, because it works effectively. Now, some people don't like that, but it's what I believe in firmly. And you know, when people say, wow, you don't understand, I didn't come from a rich family, I didn't come from a rich family. My dad worked at a 99-cent store for 15 years. My parents got a divorce. My mother had to go back to Iran. Had money. I'm a welfare child. I joined the army. I had a 1.8 GPA. I'm the last person in our high school. You ask any one of my high school buddies, will tell you I'm the last person anybody would have ever expected to become successful. But because I one event, father having a heart attack, going to the hospital, seeing him lose 40 pounds, one event made me completely change this guy. And not Not temporary change. A lot of people change temporarily. I'm going to get into my message here. I'm talking permanent change. I know a lot of people that will work hard for 90 days, and then they go back to the bad habits. They'll exercise for 90 days, then they go back to the bad habits. They'll keep a good time for 90 days, then they'll go back to the bad habits. They'll read books for 90 days. I'm talking permanent obsession change that is going to last with you for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years. That's what it's going to take to be able to make the kind of money that millionaires make. The money's out there. The money circulates. It doesn't stay in a place. This money that I have right now in my pocket, I want you to think about this here. This $200 here, guess what? Ask the question, how many people think this is touched? How many people has this touched? How many people? It touches thousands and thousands of hands have touched this. And it's with me now. I can choose to do whatever I can do with this $200, but it's going to keep circulating. And eventually, hands end up getting the most, those who learn the skill sets of attracting this and retaining it and growing it. That's what I'm going to talk about here with you today. I did a video a few months back. It was titled How to Really Become a Millionaire. Entrepreneur put it up. It became the #1 video on Entrepreneur's YouTube channel. And then for us, it's done very, very well. As a matter of fact, put a link on here on the bottom. It's called How to Really Become a Millionaire. Let's put the images so people can see what it looks like. Today, I'm going to talk about the 11 skill sets that millionaires master. Okay? And I'm going to get very detailed about this on these areas for them to master. And then you got to make a choice yourself that whether you want to kind of pass up on this and just kind of say, oh, great video, Pat, phenomenal video, man, as usual, great content. To me, what I love the most is, the type of messages I love the most is when a guy sends me a message and says, I started watching your videos about a year ago, and I followed all the content, and I've never missed a single video. I watched every one of your videos a year ago. I made $7,000. This last one, I made $93,000 every month. I like that. I like it when somebody tells me our company grows $3 million last year. This year, we're on track to grow some $13 million. Those are the messages I like here because they're implementing and growing. So you will get the content. It's on you to implement. So let's go through #1. And by the way, I'm assuming you automatically have to have work ethic. I'm not even going to put work ethic as a point because it's not a skill set. It's a mentality. If you don't work, none of these things are going to affect you in any possible way. Maybe a little bit, but not dramatically. So let me get right into it. #1 skill set that generally millionaires master is persuasion. And let me explain to you what I mean by persuasion. What I mean, they master. Persuasion to me is on many different fronts. One, they have to persuade their family that I'm going to go become an entrepreneur. Please support me. They have to persuade their wife if they're married, their husband if they're married. They have to persuade their kids, parents, peers. They have to persuade investors. They have to persuade an employee to want to come work with them when they're small. They have to persuade a group of salespeople to want to come and sell their product. They have to persuade people on why their product is a special product. They have to persuade why your industry is a special industry and what type of an impact it's made in your life. You got to learn how to persuade people. You got to learn how to persuade when you're selling your customer, when your product may not yet be at the level you want it to be. You need to learn how to persuade investors on why they ought to invest into your company. You need to persuade executives and talents who are with established companies. Why should they consider even working with something like you, working with an entrepreneur like you who is maybe not established yet? Maybe you're not there yet. You got to learn how to persuade your competitors, persuade your partners, persuade your vendors, persuade your carriers, There's a lot of persuasion that you got to do. By the way, you got to learn to persuade yourself as well. You got to psych yourself out to get into the mode of wanting to get to work on a daily basis, especially those days that it's not an exciting day. You got to persuade yourself. Persuasion is one of their skill sets. You got to persuade when you learn how to negotiate. Negotiation is a form of persuasion. Learning how to sell. If you don't know how to sell, kiss entrepreneurship goodbye, because selling is a form of persuasion. Negotiation is a form of persuasion. Speaking from stage is a form of persuasion. Not everybody speaks the same style, but everything there is persuasion. #1 skill set I put up there is persuasion. Number two, let me tell you one thing that most millionaires master is reading people. Reading people, and I'll tell you what I mean by reading people. Okay. The reason why millionaires end up generally becoming good at reading people is because they've been ripped off, backstabbed, lied to, cheated so many times that there are a lot of signals that they see a trend and saying, this person's like that, reminds me of this person. You got to learn how to read people. You got to learn how to read a customer. You got to learn how to read an employee. You got to learn how to read someone who is absolutely full of it. Sometimes I get surprised how some people who are pretty successful, they're making $120,000, $300,000 a year, how easily they fall for the trap of somebody who's full of it. Like, how do you not read that sometimes, right? You got to learn how to read it, and a certain level of paranoia when you're reading people. And then also, when I'm saying reading people, is not just on the negative side, reading people on someone that's truly, you did something wrong and you need to go out there and do something about it. You need to read people that need you to make a right effort to take care of them. You make the right effort to, treat them in a way that they need to be treated. That's also reading people. Another one is, when I say reading people, is being able to think what a customer is going to need now, what a customer is going to need a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, and reading them. Being able to read a person that starts with your company at an early stage, and what were they thinking about when they were at your level, at a new level. You're not speaking to them from your level. Millionaires, you got to learn how to read somebody at that level. Give them the belief that they need at that level versus somebody that's been around a little longer that needs to kind of man up or woman up or mature as an entrepreneur. You're not. You're just treating this as a lollygagging with the industry. And that's a completely different conversation with that person. Say, grow up already. You've been in this thing for 5, 10, 15 years. What's next? You're going to be like this your entire life. So reading to know when, where, who, what, when. They eventually become very good at reading people. Number 3, this one's going to sound strange to a lot of people when I first say it, but it'll make sense to you here in a minute. It's called sharing the wealth. Hang tight. This is not a hokey, corny type of thing. I'll explain to you what I mean by sharing the wealth. The people that I've met who have created lots of wealth. I live in a nice community, and I go to the guy across the street. He's a guy who was part of a technology software company. He was one of the many guys that became very wealthy when this company was bought out. I go to the guy on the other side, lives in a $6.5 million house. They built, 5, 10, 15, 20 different dealerships. Berkshire Hathaway came and bought him. They're one of the biggest dealerships here in town in Dallas and Texas. They bought him out. He was one of the many people who all experienced a lot of wealth, and they made lots of money. I go and sit down with people who were part of startups, and you hear stories of so many people. You look at Microsoft on why they kept growing. Apple, when they kept growing. When Steve Jobs died, most people don't know this, he only owned 0.6% of Apple stock. Think about it. The CEO, the founder, only ended up owning 0.6% of stock. Now, some people say, well, it's because he left and went to Next and just sold that. Okay, I get it. Still, 0.6%. Microsoft, Bill Gates. So many people became wealthy with Microsoft. So many people became wealthy with Amazon. So many people become wealthy. Anything that's ever at the highest scale, wealth has to be created by multiple people. The Clippers organization is owned by a former employee of Microsoft. The Seattle Seahawks and Paul Allen, Trailblazers, it's a former Microsoft. So when you go and study this, you will notice that a lot of people who create their wealth do it that way. I remember one time I had a gentleman I was working with, and he was Jewish, and he would always tell me things about why the Jewish community has money and makes money. He says, hey, very, very vocal guy, big personality, always had money, always made money, and everybody that touched him also made money with him. I said, so, what is it? He says, let me tell you the key to success to the Jewish community business people. I said, what is it? He said, when we make money, a lot of people make money. He says, you know what happens when you make money? A lot of people make money. I said, what's that? Everybody constantly wants to go in business with you because why? Every time they go in business with you, who makes money? A lot of people make money. So you keep getting people that keep coming and doing business with you. Now, some of you may say, that's not true. I know this guy that he made his money and it was all him and all this. Fine. He's probably not going to get a lot of people that are going to want to follow and do business with him from the past. If you generally see that nobody from the past is consistently doing business with a person, it's either that person chose, it's the other people said, when he makes money, only he makes money, nobody else makes money. You got to learn how to share the wealth where you continuously have deals for the rest of your life. Number 4, leverage. It's very critical. Leverage. Millionaires master leverage. They are master at understanding leverage. And I think one of the reasons why they understand leverage is the sooner you learn that in order to do anything big, you need a team, is the sooner you'll start scaling at a very fast pace. You know, especially a lot of the driven, self-motivated guys that have high GPAs or did very good in school and they had good grades and they were always good at doing the homework right and nobody does it better than me. I'm a perfectionist. They typically have the hardest time. They typically have the hardest time. The guys that didn't have the best grades and they were kind of played a little bit of sports, they generally don't have a hard time with this. You know why? Because they've always needed help. So it's kind of, man, I need help. I still need help. But the ones that typically have independent people who are very good at homework, they have a hard time knowing that they need help. Leverage is a very, very big deal. So you got to learn how to delegate. What do you delegate? What do you not delegate? How do you manage and study a certain thing that you're delegating to somebody to see if they can fully come through with it? Crowdsourcing. One of my favorite questions to ask our staff, or it doesn't matter who it is, I love to ask, what do you think? What do you think about this? What do you think about this idea? What do you think about that? What do you think about this? What are your thoughts? And I like to ask every different type of personality, somebody who is very skeptical but very technical and smart, somebody who is action excited. Tell me what gets you excited about this, somebody who's normally in the middle and you don't get a lot of reaction. I want to see all because I want to know what they think about it. That's part of leverage. So leverage is, you know, team, recruiting, sales, software, technology, social media, every marketing, branding, collaborating, everything is leverage. How can I leverage to make this thing go faster? Leverage. Number five. This is a skill set they master. Let me tell you. Recruiting. Let me explain. You recruit a media platform to want to build you up. You recruit talent. You recruit executives. You recruit the best salespeople. You recruit people who are friends that want to go into business with you. Recruit solid, high identity association. You recruit good friends. You recruit, you know, other people who are extremely successful that also want to associate with you. You recruit that. That's not to sell them anything. That's to sit down and talk and you're learning from one another. You recruit a board. You recruit an advisory board. You recruit the best mentors. Millionaires are great at recruiting the best mentors, partners, investors. They're incredible at networking. They're incredible at connecting. They're incredible at doing any of those things because recruiting to them, they know I am one executive away from scaling my business into doubling my revenue. I'm one salesperson away or one sales leader away from incredibly growing my sales volume of sales by 50, 100, 200, 300%. If I get one strong sales leader, if I get one leader that comes in and does, they know that. So everything to them is about recruiting. One of 6. This one's also strange, but I'll tell you. Energy management. Energy management. What is energy management? I still don't drink coffee. I just got off the phone with a major player at the AIG who sent me a very, very nice gift. Mark, thank you for sending that nice gift that you sent out. But we were talking about energy. He said, you got a new one. Are you getting any sleep? I said, yeah, I'm trying to get some sleep. I'm waking up every 2 hours with the baby. And so are you still not drinking coffee? I said, I'm still not drinking coffee. So do you do Red Bull? Do you do this? I don't do any of that stuff. I personally don't do any of that stuff. But I have to figure out a way on how to manage my energy because my energy, without it, I can't do anything. And anybody who becomes a millionaire, those who don't, they generally quit at some point. They quit at $100,000 year income. They quit at 150, 200, 300, 400. But everybody quits at some point. Okay, some people go to the very end and then they quit when they die. But a lot of people quit after 2, 3, 4 years of going all in. Most people don't go for a long time. Keep that part in mind. So energy management is what can I do for me to increase my energy? So generally I get tired after working 8 hours. I don't want to get tired after 8 hours. What can I do? Maybe I want to go 10 hours. Maybe I want to go 12 hours. So I like to stand up and work because this one my body is standing up. So every time I'm doing this, my body's moving. And when I sit now, I may take a break and I sit. My energy goes lower. Then when I stand up again, my body's moving. Things are happening. So figuring out ways to manage your energy to know how long you can go. Figuring out how you can go on little to no sleep. I know that sounds strange to some people, but how do you do that? Your fitness routine, your diet, all of that is part of energy management. Number 7, anybody who's been following my content for a while, you know I made a video that was called The Most Important Thing to Keep Preaching on YouTube. It's called what? How to Process Issues. Millionaires learn how to process issues. They learn how to problem solve. They learn how to sit there and say, if we need this, we need to do this. They know how to think about a problem, come up with a 1, 2, 3 step to do itself. They believe you think this part, I almost call that person, they call this person, call this person, email that guy, call this guy, they call this person, they say, okay, we got it, do what we need to do. That person's willing to do this, that person's willing to do $200,000 this month. All this stuff that goes, it's purely
so much it costs.
Learning how to process issues.
To buy it.
A part of learning how to process issues,
It's fine.
is processing issues where everybody's always bringing them ideas and shit. So you might
Still stop and get some good, but
they also become really good at saying no to
it's very dangerous.
because they're trying to identify which areas worth them putting their time into and not their time into, which areas worth them putting their resources into and not putting their resources into.
Yeah, we should be going to
Part of processing issues. Number 8. Number 8 is time management. They learn time management. Generally, you learn time management because a lot of times a rookie entrepreneur may not even make it because they're spending way too much time on Facebook and YouTube. They're spending way too much time on
we were supposed to go last night.
a game, or they're spending way too much time on Snapchat.
Stop being a bitch,
They're spending way too much time on Instagram, all that other stuff, and they're not putting a lot of time into selling, fronting, prospecting, creating, networking, relationship. They're not in the hunt, right? So you don't make it. You go straight to the cemetery of entrepreneurs who are millions and billions of people buried there who didn't make it. You tried, and they didn't make it. Time management is when you learn how to make a 1.5-hour appointment become an hour. It's still effective. How you learn a 30-minute phone call to become 10 minutes. How you learn to leave a message that's an effective message, yet it's not a 6-minute message or a 4-minute message. They learn how to say a message in a bit of a faster way. They know what area they don't need to put time on and say, this is relationship. I'm not putting a deadline on this because this is relationship. Because sometimes you can also be the complete opposite without and then the other person is offended by it because they're also busy and you're busy. It's kind of like, listen, I'm as busy as you are, so don't give me this I'm busy type of thing. Everybody's busy at this point. So sometimes people that play that card when they're not, it kind of rubs people the wrong way who they're already in the hunt at high different levels of time management. They understand that. But you become very good on the time management side. Work, hours, week, all in. It's strange how they still find ways to save their sanity because you have to stay sane to go long term. You don't hear a lot of the people that make it to the highest of levels taking way too many vacations. You generally don't hear that. But they'll do a schedule of Saturday, boom, go, Sunday, and then Monday they come back to refuel. You'll hear them on Sunday being at a spa or a hotel all day and laying out and relaxing. You'll see them doing those sorts of things for them to be re-energized. A lot of rookie entrepreneurs that get to 100, 200, 300, or 400,000 a year income, vacation. They're wondering how come they don't absolutely explode on scale because they're more concerned about vacation rather than doing the work. So that is a part of the millionaire's mindset.
Woo!
9, how to manage
Clay's
money.
alive.
You have to learn how to manage money because
They call me Clay, though.
everything
And I go like this.
You have these type of resources and it's depleting. What can you do to make the number keep coming up so that income is
There he is. It's Clay Aiken. I don't like this one. This is a boy. No, this one looks like too much face. This one. Oh.